You live.
Good evening. My name is Denise R. Luster Malone. I worked at Stroger Cook County Hospital for 26 years in nursing administration as the stenographer 5 to the director of medical surgical nursing. I was unjustly terminated for being falsely accused of stealing 8.7 overtime hours despite having concrete and concise evidence I submitted. This is my evidence that I submitted. You first have to get approval, and if your department don't have, it's not going to your department, you show on here what department it's going to. So I got it approved, and then after you finish working it out, the timekeeper gives you a copy of your swipe ins and swipe out. So I have put all of that on there, and after that, then my immediate supervisor will sign off on it, as you can see that he has done.
Okay, you got 80 people on there. They wasn't on when you first started talking, so you might have to go repeat what you said first thing you did. They wasn't on there, so.
I'll go over.
Okay, go over it. All right, now you got 88 people. Go ahead.
Damn. Good evening. My name is Denise R. Luster Malone. I worked at Stroger Cook County Hospital for 26 years in nursing administration as the stenographer 5 to the director of medical surgical nursing. I was unjustly terminated for being falsely accused of stealing 8.7 hours overtime, despite having concrete and concise evidence I submitted. Before you can do overtime, especially if it's no overtime in your department, you have to get this signed out to show, it's called a salary recharge. You have to get this signed out to show which department is being charged if your nursing department don't have overtime that I'm originally from. So I got it approved by the doctor going to surgical nursing. Then, after this, at the end of the pay period, I got this approved and signed out by my original director. Okay? So, Antoinette Williams, the director of nursing at that time, had the timekeeper, Verna Jones, delete my 8.7 hours from the time and attendance system, which is a violation of it's a federal offense. Antoinette Williams then had the timekeeper, LaDonna Griffin, put my work overtime hours back in the system, stating the Inspector General's office has approved it. Antoinette Williams had Maurice Walker, payroll director, make sure I was paid the upcoming pay period. Then immediately accused me of falsely stealing overtime that was worked and paid out. Now, this is a copy of when my overtime was in there, then they deleted it out, and then they put it back in. So I have copies 1, 2, and 3, which shows all of that. This is all of my supporting proof. Here, this shows you the timekeeper that deleted it out, because I have no access to that system. So this shows you the code of Verna Jones that deleted this out of the time and attendance system. And that's a federal offense. I filed 35 Shackman complaints, and to this date, Sunday, November 24th, 2019, my Shackman complaints have not been responded to. Leslie Jones Beatty was the original Shackman's attorney, investigated my case. These are the 35 Shackman complaints, and these must be responded to. And as of this date, they have not responded to my 35 Shackman complaints.
So what's the Shackmans for those that don't know?
Shackman is, well, they were named after Michael Shackman. They're named after him. And if you've been politically wronged, discriminated against, or harassed, then you found out a Shackman form. That's how you do that. Okay? And this is the original Leslie Jones Beatty that was, she had me come down there on several occasions. I was called downtown to interview at the Shackman's office numerous times, along with additional witnesses. I never received the completed report from Leslie. Leslie stated that they wouldn't go with her findings because of the correctness. 5 years later, I received a report from Patrick Blanchard. This is the report that I received from Patrick Blanchard. And it was 5 years later. Patrick Blanchard never contacted me not one time to interview so he can investigate me. He only contacted Antoinette Williams. And he had her give her side of the story, but he never contacted me. Leslie Jones stated they wouldn't go with her findings because of the corruptness. The policy states an investigation must be done within 180 days, and the final report was completed 5 years later, well outside the stated policy time frame. The federal judge stated he was going to dismiss my case because I didn't present enough evidence. I presented numerous and sufficient pieces of evidence. However, no one has reviewed my submitted documentation. I was never given an arbitration, which is my right as a PAN member. At that time, the local 1111 ASME president, Carmen Goodlow, outright refused to assist with my case. She was being vindictive and stated that she wouldn't assist me because I didn't vote for her to be elected into the office. Also, my local 1111's union's attorney, Helen Thornton, assisted with staging and fabricating an arbitration. I know it was staged arbitration because there wasn't an assigned docketing number. There wasn't a court reporter or anyone taking minutes, nor have there been any transcripts available. I asked for assistance from the federal court building in retrieving the transcripts, but to no avail. Helen Thornton once told me my arbitration had to be rescheduled because the state's attorney, John Coyne's mom, was ill in the hospital. After speaking with the state's attorney supervisor, at that time it was Greg Voxie, I found that to be untrue. Also, I spoke with the clerk on duty, Valerie, and I found out there wasn't an arbitration scheduled on the record books in that particular room. In addition to failing, Carmen Goodlow, union's president, failed to support her other members because she was preoccupied stealing funds from the union dues. Olivia Spells, local 1111's secretary and treasurer, was an accomplice with Carmen Goodlow in stealing union dues from the hard-working members. ASME Council 31 decided they would allow them to repay the stolen funds. This is a newsletter from local 1111, ASME, and it states, after an examination of the available financial records, it was determined that both former officers are guilty of misappropriating union dues. Both former officers have been expelled from the union, are barred from holding future office, and are ordered to pay back the missing funds. The surety bond has issued a check to local 1111 for $50,000, the maximum amount allowed under that policy. So now, I worked there for 26 years. Now, I was unjustly terminated for falsely being accused of stealing 8.7 hours. I worked at other hospitals and other departments and other divisions, and I've never had a problem with that. But you're going to stage up that I stole a measly 8.7, and in actuality, they stole over $300,000. And you're going to allow them to pay that back in installments? Now here, 8.7 and $300,000. The union members, they had voted on to prosecute Carmen Goodlow to the fullest extent of the law. And once again, Ms. Corrupt Helen Thornton, she didn't pursue the issue. She just allowing them to pay the money back. Who does that? Okay, moving right along. Michael Shackman was assisting me until he found out his office was involved with the corruption.
Who was Michael Shackman?
Michael Shackman is the guy that's over the whole Shackman department The Shackman complaints is named after Michael Shackman.
Is he an attorney?
Is he an attorney?
Yes, well, he's over, so yes.
He's an attorney, and he's over the Shackman. He's no longer there anymore. I don't know where they put him to, but he was the Shackman's guy. That Shackman, Michael Shackman. The Shackman complaints are named after him. Office of the Cook County Complaint Administrator. So these forms, if you have any corrupt issues going on, you've been discriminated against and all of that, then you fill out these complaints. As I stated, I have 35 complaints that have not been responded to. Okay? I've also, okay, I forgot this part. Michael Shackman was assisting me until he found out his office was involved with the corruption. Mr. Shackman told me don't call his office anymore, which I have documentation of that. He told me don't call his office anymore because I had arbitration already. And as I was trying to explain to him, the arbitration was staged and fabricated, and I have proof of that. So he told me don't contact him anymore, don't call his office. And I haven't. He just refused to assist me. I've also reached out to County Board President Tony Preckwinkle, trying to get an appointment. As of today, she has not responded. And I have the letter here where I sent to Tony Preckwinkle for her to assist me. I also have a letter also. This is the letter to Tony Preckwinkle when she first got in office, and it is dated December 13, 2010. I have that documentation. And before I had a hearing at Stroger, Antoinette Williams had sent out a predated letter. It's August 31st. My first hearing wasn't until September 10th. So she sent this letter out and saying that I was filing all of these false claims to the Cook County Corporate Compliance Office, Inspector General's Office, Department of Ethics. She said that I was sending out false letters because I was found guilty of theft of county fund, misuse of timekeeping. She also charged me with embezzlement for 8.7 hours, even though I have all of my documentation to prove and show how they deleted my time out and then charged me with that. I have all of that. But this is a letter, how you sent out the letter August 31st, and my hearing wasn't until September 10th. Okay? I've reached out to every director and COO to assist me with this case. They did not assist. My own union president, Carmen Goodlow, when I gave her the packet to sign off on, she refused to sign off on it, but she took the packet. This is the proof of all of the other department heads signing off on this. And as I've stated, anything that I've mentioned, I have supporting documentation. It's attached to all of these 35 Shackman forms. The judge said I didn't have enough evidence. Oh, I had the evidence, you all did not read it. So he dismissed my case because I did not present him enough evidence. Okay, if you read this evidence, you will see how wrong I was. And it was a staged and fabricated arbitration. Where are the transcripts? I have the transcripts for any other court appearance, but that staged fabricated arbitration, there is no transcripts for that. Okay?
Question. Did you hire an attorney during this period?
Actually, I've had 6 different attorneys. I've paid out over $50,000 in attorney fees, and they eventually would just get paid under the table. And they said, oh, Ms. Malone, we don't have a case. It was dismissed. One of them told me he tried to meet with me and the union's attorney, Helen Thornton. So I went down there with my husband, Michael Malone, and he said, I said, what is she doing down here? She don't even supposed to be here. They wouldn't let you in a hearing that I had at Cook County Hospital. So he said, well, we're trying to get your job back. I said, not with what you guys are talking about, and both of you all seem to be working together under the table. He said, well, Miss Malone, sometimes we have to eat shit. I said, yeah, we might have to, but this is some BS I passed on, and as of today, your services is no longer needed. So the other attorneys, all of them, they will be going along with everything until something happened. They've been meeting behind closed doors, and then they would get paid under the table, and then one of them said, oh, we don't do appeals. And one of the attorneys, Scott Skolasky, he had another employee at Stroger where he got her some money from her case, and she didn't have nowhere near the document, and as much done to her than I had done to me. So it's something wrong with this for real. My case has so many, the Inspector General's office involved, the Shackman's office, the union, all of the different various attorneys, and it's so many involved, and the federal court system. That's the main thing, the judges. I have 5 suitcases in another box with supporting documentation. As you can see on this table with all of this documentation that I have, everything is right here, you know. So, like I said, something must be done about this corruption. I've gone through the chain of commands. At the court system, I was pro se. My next step is U.S. Supreme Court. But something must be done to prevent all of this corruption. Because with every piece of paper that I've sent you, I even have where they received it. This is signed that they received it. I had the green card signed when they get it, it'll show that they received the papers that I did. I got this from the post office, and then I get a copy back. So I even have all of that done with the certificate that they've received what I've sent out, okay?
Certified.
The certified copies, right, they've received this. This is the one from the union. I've sent to, Washington, D.C. I've sent everything there. To Lee Saunders. And another thing, which is one of my Shackmans, Henry Bear, he was the executive over the whole ASME office. He was the director of everything. But he was also a paid board member when Tony Preckwinkle got in office. You can't straddle the fence like that. That is a serious conflict of interest. So you can't straddle the fence like that. That's double dipping. That's double dipping. So that's how they were able to get away with a lot of things. They were double dipping. And you can't do that. That's a serious conflict of interest. So now I'm going to turn you over to the hands of my assistant. Well, I'm following her lead. We're working together.
And her name is?
Miss Deborah House.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Deborah House, and anyone that knows me, I did 33 years at Cook County Hospital. I joined the union up under the leadership of Herdestein Williams. I was a vice president at one time and later became an executive board member. I had a rapport with management. I had a rapport with the employees. I'm not going to say that everybody liked me because they didn't. I can say truthfully that even if they didn't and I had to represent them, I fought all the way for them. I just found out about Niecy's case 2 years ago. And when we discussed it, I asked the question. And today I'm going to say the same question that I asked her. Why did this ever lead out of Cook County Hospital? Anyone knows that her job capacity that she worked in, for 26 years, the lady never had a reprimand in her folder. That's number one. She had no prior discipline in her folder. This was contracted by Miss Antoinette Williams that did not like her for some apparent reason. Because Denise had worked there up under Miss Bather West, and she was the director before she left. Denise handled the budgets because a lot of coordinators did not know how to do their jobs. She worked in radiology overtime. She worked in medical records overtime. She worked at Provident overtime. And then to say she's going to steal 8.7 hours. No. Absolutely ridiculous. You don't label someone or try to tear their integrity down. Not like that. my whole thing was this. Whoever represented her from the union, they did not treat her fairly. Because all they had to do was says, Denise, let me get you and Miss Williams and we sit down and we discuss this 8.7 hours. But when the inspector general got into it and said that they must pay her, the case is over. So why in return would you turn around and file charges? Double jeopardy now. You're going to file charges on her stealing. She didn't steal no time. You come down there to where she worked at and went off ludicrous in front of the doctors and patients for no reason and saying that you're down here working. Yes, she had permission and it was signed. It was okay. My problem with the union is because, first of all, they should have met. They should have met. This shouldn't have never left Cook County Hospital. Even if it had to go to a grievance and then sent to the second step, it should have went that far. Or even let labor relations get involved. But to take it out the jurisdiction of the hospital, that didn't make sense. So that let you know that this was corruption. Miss Williams made it known that her husband was Todd Strozer's bodyguard or driver or whoever else. It didn't mean anything to me. My thing was treat the people fairly. That's all. That was our major concern. If you're going to file unfair labor charges on someone, you have the right. Our Constitution tells us that we have the right to file. But this young lady, I'm looking here where union stewardess filed and just listed her name and no answers or even given the information to Antoinette Williams. Why? Why lead her on to think that here she is going to be represented by the local and then a hearing date would be set up? No, it was no hearing date set up. It was no hearing date. And then it gets all the way to the Council 31. Roberta Lynch was the director then. Helen Thornton, they sent her from Washington to the ASME's office. And Carmen Goodlow, I worked with her down through the years. I never thought that Carmen had integrity to do someone like that. But then if you're going to steal an election and put the ballots in black bags and go over everybody's name that did not vote for you and say, I'm not servicing them, then that meant that you went along with management. No. Once that you are a union dues member and on that executive board and you meeting with the management, guess what? You're on the same level as them. You're definitely, without a doubt. I will say, and I'm going to say again, this case here, no, should never have went out of the jurisdiction of Cook County Hospital. Now, for labor relations to get involved, for the CEO, the CCO, and everyone else to get involved, and no one wanted to touch this case. Why? Because they were afraid of a young tenderoni woman because of political reasons. Her husband was tied to Todd Strozier. But Todd Strozier could not fit his father's shoes because his father would not have allowed that. President John Strozier would not have allowed that. Even if you had to go out to his ward office and meet with him on a Monday night to discuss the issue. Okay? But this here, it went way off key. It went way off the pages. Okay? And it was more than just being harassed, calling fat ass, lazy, trifling. And then you sick her boss, her supervisor on her, and then make up a lie. And then tell the employees, if you talk to her, you're going to get what she got. What do you mean? Other words, if you talk to Denise, that meant that you're going to write me up and send me home? Come on now. And when I heard about it, yes, this blew my mind. Because I had worked so hard and diligently with these union members. But when the president told me, Deb, I'm giving it up, I said, well, why don't you pass the matter on to Jewel? She says, no, let them go after it and let the members vote. Well, guess what? The members voted for Jewel. Yes, but the election was stolen with a black garbage bag. Okay? So therefore, Ms. Goodlow says, well, you get a steward. I'm the president. But after 4 discharges, you can take the union's money and arbitrate your case. But Denise never had a chance for arbitration. Okay? And then CBS, ABC, Channel 7, Fox 32, Channel 9. Nobody thought about this being corruption? Yes, it was, because the day that Denise sent her letter to Tony Predwinkle, she was just walking into the office and told Commissioner Steele not to get into it. Okay? So how corrupt are you, President? It makes me wonder about you and your integrity. We have a contract. Right. This union contract I call my Bible. I've always called it my Bible for 25 years. The preamble is that we would, the union and the county is the first opening statement that they have authority. But as you go on to read, it states that we are supposed to work together. Did they work together? No. No one worked with this lady at all. When you call a person a thief, you're calling them a liar. You're calling their integrity out. And I don't think it was just. I don't think it was fair. And then the rulings that the federal judge couldn't read this because it took me 9 months to read it. So how are you going to read it in 15 days or 30 days? But justice will be served. It's got to be. Because God has brought this young lady too far to leave her now. Corruption is just corruption. And county is plenty of corruption. These 634 jobs she just stated yesterday, she's not feeling, well, you know what? It just lets me know that it'll probably be 1,200 and something more of us that be dying, okay? You worrying about a boutique and all of this, New York fashions coming into what President John Strozier labored for our black people to have and the white people to have a hospital that they can come to, rich or poor, and be serviced.
the #1 trauma center. You take that away and put it where? 15th in California, Mount Sinai. When they get there, they dead. No, her case is serious, and people at John Stroger Hospital know one thing. Your contract says you have a representative of your choosing. Your president don't have to choose who you want to speak for you. Know that. Because I'm finding out is that these presidents are getting so wrapped up with the locals' money that they think it's their own, and they're knocking each other out the box. It is not yours. The members really don't have to even pay union dues if you want to know the truth. And that's a horse of a different color, but if they research it, they do not have to pay union dues. And Deborah House is letting you know that. And ask me, Lee Sanders, you're the president, and I thought that you would be more considerate. I thought working down through the years when McEntee and Lucy was president, and then you became president, that you would be more lenient and concerned about your locals to get involved with Miss Malone's case. And it's a sad day. It is a sad day. Because people do not have to join nobody's union. If they're talking about solidarity, solidarity to what? Because you're not solidarity nowhere. Nowhere. When you're working at the county, the people scared to talk to each other. But yet and still you want to take union dues. Well, guess what? It's over. It's over. Members, make up your mind what you all want to do. Because without you, ASME could not make no money. Know your rights. And I said that. Know your rights. But far as Miss Malone being mistreated, we're not getting off this. 35 Shackmans must be. They've got to be answered. That is the law.
All 35.
And this has been unedited and uncut and the real raw truth.
All right. It sounds like the crabs is there. Listen, let me ask you guys a question. With the so how long this case been going on? You know, how long you been fighting this case?
Going into the 10th year.
10th year? Okay.
Yes.
Okay,
Well, let me say something.
Go ahead.
I have to interrupt you on that. Miss Malone had fought it for 5 years. County reached out to her
And open
it up their own self. And when they opened it up, guess what they opened it up? Offered her $1,000
for a settlement.
for a
$1,000.
settlement. And we have the letter here.
For $1,000.
Okay, for 5 years at $1,000. Are you trying to tell me the lady is worth 2 cents a day?
Yes.
For 5 years?
For $1,000.
You opened it up.
Yes.
She didn't open it up. You all notified her. And then she been pursuing it on.
Ever since.
And someone wants this case. And I'm tasting their blood right now.
And if anyone wants to contact me, Denise Luster Malone, you may reach out to me at 708-951-3213. Once again, 708-951-3213. And as I stated before, and I mentioned, I have supporting documentations attached to all 35 of my Shackman forms. I have 5 suitcases of everything, and it is what it is. 708-951-3213. Thanks for your attention to this matter in advance.
Okay. That's it, ladies?
Yes.
Well, before you close up, I want to ask a couple more questions though.
Oh, go right ahead. We more
Yeah,
than willing.
yeah, okay. Now, you're planning to take this to a higher court right now?
Well, the final step is the U.S. Supreme Court.
Okay.
But why would you continue going up the roads to the court system? And they said in the appeal court I didn't have present enough evidence. They was dismissing my case. So you're fighting in the county facility. You're fighting against the county. Now you do the math. So it's time for this to be resolved. They must answer to my Shackman forms. This must be resolved. Because it's against the law if you don't answer these Shackman forms. So I have 35 Shackman forms that have not been responded to. And they from day one once everything happened.
Okay, now, so what do you want to happen to your satisfaction? What I mean by that, actually, what do you want to happen with all these forms? What you want the end results to be?
The end result, I must be made whole with all of my losses from which at first they suspended me. September 21st, 2009. In my contract with the union, I am not to be suspended without pay. And I was suspended for over 2 months. And they said once they will contact me to let me know my next hearing date. How do you know a next hearing date when you haven't proved that I did anything? So they just show you from day one how everything was set up. Anyone involved with my case, they were terminated, but I have not received due diligence. So I want to be made whole. Okay? That's what I want to do. And there's no need to keep going to the U.S. Supreme Court. I want this corruption exposed. Because everyone must see how I've been going up the chain of commands, this court, and that court. And for you to tell me that I didn't submit enough evidence? No, there's something wrong with that picture. I have 5 suitcases in the box hood. So that's what I want that to be investigated. So
somebody said, what local is this?
Local 1111 asks me.
Say that again.
Local 1111, which is 4 ones, 1111. At that time, Carmen Goodlow was the president. And she did all the stealing. But for me to be falsely accused of stealing 8.7 hours, and she stole over $300,000, oh, it's really something wrong with this, baby. It's something wrong with this picture.
So you said you want to be, so do you want to be vindicated, your name clear, and compensated too? I didn't hear that word compensation.
Oh, compensated. When I said made whole,
okay,
that means compensated. When I said made whole,
okay,
that's right.
What she wants is any local would say, I want my 9 years of service pay that I could have been getting my pension. I want my money compensated for the 35 Shackmans.
Exactly.
And then the way they did her, you go into a room and you get a man 90-something years old and place him up in a chair and tell you that this is the arbitrator and he's going to sleep. And your union president walks out and says, I'm sick and I'm going home.
And she walked out.
And left your union members sitting up there. And Helen Thornton was no better. She's sitting up there talking to Miss Williams. Okay? And then county finally found Miss Williams out when she started abusing and hitting on
my ex-boss,
her coordinators or directors.
That's
Let me
right.
say it like that.
Mm-hmm.
Then they terminated her. Okay? It don't take long for people to be found out.
So you said it's a string of corruption going on.
It is a
Oh
string.
my goodness! Yes,
And it has not stopped yet.
My. Yes, it is.
It has not stopped yet.
As I said,
When they
I hear.
talked about Todd Strozier and his family and the corruption, let me make one thing very clear. Yes, his cousin tried to lead him the proper way, but she didn't have no knowledge. But after she was terminated, she was placed in the assessor's office. And that's what county does. When they fire you, they send you to another county facility. It's time out for corruption. The corruption that's going on in county is the same thing that Donald Trump is doing.
Question: did you get your pension? Did they allow you to get your pension?
They allowed me to get my pension. So how you gonna give me my pension if I'm stealing and embezzling money?
That's true.
You know, and I wasn't never arrested or anything for you to keep telling people that I stole funds and I embezzled some money.
You never arrested, and that's...
I was never arrested, but I was charged with embezzlement and stealing funds from Cook County Hospital and falsely accused of stealing, like I said.
First of all, I cannot use the terminology of embezzlement. Because when you talk about 8.7 hours of embezzlement, and there is no litigation filed with the department of the police department. Exactly. It is just stuff that is written up because the director didn't know how to write. And she just put up charges that she wanted. Mm-hmm. But had the union been right about it, it would never have left the county.
Exactly.
It would have been over. It would have been over. She would have still been on her job 27 years and had 3 more to go before retirement. So yes, she's asking for her 9 years of back pay and all 35 of her Shackmans to be heard.
Let me ask you a question. This is more personal. What would you tell somebody that's going through a simpler case such as yours? What encouragement words you would give to them to continue to fight for their integrity?
Well, me, myself, I have to stay in prayer with God. You have to keep your mind clear, stay focused on what you're doing. When things started happening to you, you must document. Document. I have a journal that I started, that I have all my paperwork here. I started a journal when she first started discriminating against me and harassing me. You must document. Even though it's corrupt people involved, somebody's going to hear this case. You have to document, and I have more than enough documentation. So just stay focused. I don't let anything distract me, and I really don't.
Well, that's an old term that says documentation beats conversation.
That's right. Document. She called me all kind of names or whatever. I said, and you know, one time I got kind of like down and out, depressed. And the devil is busy. The devil told me, go shoot that lady in the head, you know, or whatever. I said, no, devil, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to keep kicking her butt with documentation. Everything in black and white. That's how I'm going to get that butt right there. And that's what I did with all of the documentation that I have.
Very smart. So I'm going to ask all my followers, listeners, and their followers to share this video. Go back, replay it, listen to it from the beginning, because I know some of you guys came in halfway through it, but it's very clear. She has documentation for everything, even conversations, even when they alter the time clock on the job, which is illegal. So we want to support her. And if there's anybody out there that can assist her, I want you to give your number out again. And
my number, once again, is 708-951-3213.
And your name?
Denise Luster Malone. Malone.
All right. Any final thoughts? Any final closing words? Mother House?
I have spoken.
Okay.
I've let the people know.
All right.
Because if anybody know Deborah House, I didn't play then, and I still don't play.
All right.
And it's in my blood. And if I can help somebody along the way, my living won't be in vain.
All right.
I may be retired. But one thing about it, I helped wrote this contract. So I know how the contract goes. Maybe they need me on their staff. Well said. I'm done.
Okay. Well, this concludes. You already know what it is. This is the Crime Chaser live, unedited, uncut. And this is what it is. Share the video. We want to thank you guys for allowing us to come and interview you guys and tell your story. And you know, this platform, this is what it's for. It's for people that looks like you and myself. I love being black. Y'all already know what it is for me. So I thank y'all so much for coming in. And we can't save the world, but we can save those that want to be saved.
Hallelujah.
All right. All right. Peace out. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you. Thank
Bye.
you. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Share the video.
That was great.